Today it'll just be me and Lurch. Greg's under the weather. As you know, I was under the weather last week, and I'm still not 100%. So I'll try to mute myself before a cough comes in, but I won't always catch it. It's better though than it was before. Of course, because I'm talking about it. Excuse me. Just because I talk about it, it triggers.
Yeah.
Psychology at its finest. Okay, but we're here with yes, absolutely. We're here with game time. Um, take a drink.
I have to learn to start bringing drinks with me whenever I start these.
I got my refrigerator right behind me, so I could just reach it.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, we're waiting until I'm fully okay because we've got good root beer in there for root beer floats, and we're going to celebrate being healthy again by having root beer floats. Because we were going to do root beer floats right before I got sick.
Are you going to get the root beer floats from the plague truck?
No, we actually bought vanilla bean ice cream and got really good quality root beer.
Doc was just telling me before we started that he refers to the ice cream trucks as the plague trucks because it causes people to gather together in public.
During the full COVID outbreak, when they were supposed to be limiting exposure to everybody they could, these guys were coming through the neighborhood, playing their bells, saying, "Come out and buy ice cream." Said, "Come, kids, petri dish kids, come here and let's spread the plague." And I was like, "That's crazy. The plague truck's here." So now they're the plague truck from now on. Till something better. Till something better comes along.
Well, we may be down a person today. We do have a whole lot of things to talk about, don't we?
Oh yeah.
In fact, we'll kind of a big week.
Yeah, we'll probably skip over the RPG College again today. We'll just because we got so much stuff going on and getting ready to go on. Oh my God. This is it's starting to really amp up in the nerdosphere, and I'm excited. I know. Are you excited, Lurch?
Yes.
I've got lots of excitement going on here.
And not too much excitement almost. We can't, there's no way I can go over everything. I had to kind of pick and choose a bit because there's so many different things going on right now.
Right.
So.
Okay. A lot of the non-media stuff is going to be on Lurch's end. I'm excited about all kinds of media stuff, which of course we usually kind of save to the end. But instead, this time we're going to kind of sprinkle it through. But we're going to tell you right off the bat, guys, when we're talking about these TV shows and movies, if we've seen them, there's a spoiler alert. So be ready for that, guys, because we get excited. We talk. This is the spoiler territory. So forewarned is forearmed. There is spoilers. Spoilers are coming up. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. First off, we'll go ahead and let Lurch kick us off, and
okay.
Let me find one of your topics here to pop up for you.
Yeah. The retro NES style game that I shared with you.
Different. Oops, I closed something.
Uh-oh.
I wonder which one I closed. Probably the one.
So there's a new game. The Jay and Silent Bob?
I don't know. I'm looking. Nope, there it is. Okay, here you go.
There we go. Okay. So, Jay and Silent Bob have a video game called Jay and Silent Bob Mall Brawl. It just came out on Nintendo Switch. I just learned about it yesterday, and I downloaded it last night, and I played the first level so far. I haven't had much time with it. But it plays exactly. I mean, basically, it's the exact same game, only new skins and story. New backgrounds and stuff. But gameplay-wise, it's just like the old River City Ransom from Nintendo, from the NES era. Which is why the artwork here has that cartridge, look at that Nintendo cartridge on the back. I'm curious. I haven't gotten to look into it a whole lot. I'm wondering if maybe you can get an actual Nintendo cartridge and play it that way. I believe you can. But I got the Switch digital version. It's just convenient that way. And
Right.
but I might have to look into buying the physical one just to try it on my NES one of these days. But
Right.
it's been fun. I couldn't believe it. Like a brand new Jay and Silent Bob game for NES.
Hey,
It's on the
hey,
Switch now, and it's on Steam now. It'll be on Xbox and PlayStation next month. I forget what the exact date is, but sometime in May. But you can see all the little icons along the top. Get it on NES, Switch, the two different platforms. So, I don't know. I just got unreasonably excited about this because I loved River City Ransom as a kid, right? I played it a bunch. In fact, there's one of the first games we played on the YouTube channel. Might be the very first game we played on the YouTube channel over on Left Claw Studios with my friend and Angel, where I'm showing him the game. Like we're playing on 2-player, which this Jay and Silent Bob is a 2-player co-op game where one plays Jay and the other plays Silent Bob. And it's like a
nice.
side-scroller beat-em-up game. You're going through the mall. Like, remember in Mallrats, in the movie Mallrats, and they got that lame show, like that contest show. What was it? The mystery date show or whatever.
Uh
You
huh.
remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So they had that date game show, and you're like going up on stage, fighting with security and stuff. I guess you've just interrupted the game show. And like you fight the Easter Bunny, and you're just like going through the mall fighting security guards
And it kind
throughout
of,
the mall.
I bet you the side scrolling is kind of really similar to like Ninja Turtles or Double Dragon side scroller type
Yeah,
action
yeah,
play.
it is kind of similar to that. It's a little bit. It's not exactly the same, but it's very similar. It's kind of that same sort of design. But if you've ever
But
played River City Ransom on the NES, then that's exactly that. Like you get chains and you get like pipes.
mm,
You get a sock with quarters in it as a weapon. Like you pick
and
up random weapons off the ground.
and it's going to have Kevin Smith's kind of irreverence all the way through it. I'm sure. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like I said, I've only played the first level so far. I learned about this game somewhere around midnight last night, and so I've only had time to buy it, download it, play the first stage,
Talk about
and just
fresh in
kind
your
of gush
mind.
about it. Yeah. So,
That's up to the minute, folks. See how dedicated we are to you guys.
and yeah, I got my friend Angel also, like, when I showed him the River City Ransom on our Left Claw Studios channel, when I showed him that game and we played it on there, he ended up falling in love with River City Ransom. And now I'm going to have to show him this game as soon as I can. I know he's going to like
Then he'll
it.
be
So
conflicted. He won't know which one he likes better.
yeah, right?
All right.
So, yeah, keep an eye out for that. And I think this is great that they even made an actual NES cartridge.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to be limited run.
Even if they just made the cartridges like some kind of display thing to put up on your wall or something,
Yeah.
it would still be cool. But if
Yeah.
it'll plug into an old NES system and work, even better.
Yeah, I'm reading it right now because I should have taken the time to read this earlier. It says right here, limited physical collector's Nintendo Entertainment System cartridge will be available through limited run games and will be playable on the original NES as well as other compatible retro Nintendo Entertainment Systems. So it should work on something like a Retron.
Or Ret 10 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's others too. There's quite a few of
Noise.
those. So yeah.
All right. That's good.
I got a friend that's buying that copy. It was like a really quick thing. But yeah, he told me he was ordering a limited run of this Jay and Silent Bob game, and I was like, Jay and Silent, what now? And then
Hold on.
I just looked it up on the Switch and downloaded it. I didn't even like get a chance to like look online and read all the other details. And I read some of it before we streamed, but I managed to gloss over the Nintendo cartridge somehow.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I still had the tab up and pulled it up and checked.
Oh yeah.
So
You have to check this
what's
out.
that?
Yeah. I said you guys have to check this out. You guys have no idea what it right before we start to stream what we go through. So trust me, there's a lot going on our plates right before we log in. All right. Great. So that's the first little snippet. Now let's see. What was I going to talk about first? It's going to be in the media genre. Let me see here. Nope, 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 nope. There we go. All right. So I was bringing this up, and Lurch was just hearing about this from me earlier, just before the show. We're all familiar with the Arrowverse, or what they're kind of passionately renaming the CW verse, because of course Arrow's kind of ended, so it doesn't make a whole
I
lot of
know the
sense to call it the
CW.
Arrow.
I know the CW wants to call it the CW verse. I don't think anybody else does.
A lot of the fans will call it the Berlanti verse because it's Berlanti's brainchild, and he's in Berlanti's involved with everything involved with it. There's a few people on the crew that's involved with the whole thing, but Berlanti's the mind behind it all. Kind of like
Yeah,
he's the Kevin Feige of the Arrowverse.
yeah,
So being that case, as much as the Marvel Cinematic Universe is Feige's uh, brainchild, this is Berlanti's. So I kind of call it the Berlanti verse. I could see that. But the CW verse is, I think, what they're going to officially moniker it as for advertising purposes, unless, of course, the fans kind of force it the other way. And we've done it before. Fans be heard. Anyway, one of the biggest things in the CW verse is the big crossover that usually happens sometime about now, because Legends of Tomorrow just premiered, and Legends of Tomorrow, if it does a late premiere, it's usually right about the time of the crossover and stuff. Well, news on that: there's not going to be a crossover this year. Okay. Originally, they were planning to have a very, very small one, like they'd said a couple years ago after Crisis. I say a couple years because we didn't have anything last year, really. But after Crisis, they did say that after having something that big, they weren't going to try to top Crisis. That would have been silly. It would have been stupid. And they knew it. They
yeah.
said, no, we're going to calm it down, slow it down, do a nice, even little easy crossover, and then
I mean,
build
how do
up
you
again.
top multi-universal genocide?
Yeah. And they were going to build up again, which is the best way to do it. And I think that was smart. But they decided they're not going to do it, and mainly that's because of the COVID virus. And COVID screwed up a lot of our lives, guys. Let's just face it.
Mm.
Anyway, see, just talk about COVID, I start coughing. But let me take a drink. So they're not going to do it. The original planned crossover was just going to be only two shows. It was just going to be Superman and Lois crossed over with Batwoman. So it wasn't going to involve Supergirl, even though it's her last season. It wasn't going to involve Flash, Black Lightning, even though it's his last season. It was, Black Lightning was just introduced to the Super Friends pretty much, and they're not even involving him. Yeah,
I mean, he
uh,
was he was in a little bit of the Crisis of Infinite Earths or whatever, but he wasn't in anything else. That was
and
only his only
he
appearance.
got a seat at the table at the end when they showed the big Justice League hall that they had built. At the very
Yeah,
end, the last episode, he had an emblem on the table, on one of the chairs. So he had a seat at the table, and then he don't get nothing. Black Lightning don't get no love.
yeah.
Hey, to tell you the truth, I'm a big fan of the CW verse. I watch them all except Black Lightning. I tried. I got it. I watched several of them, but it didn't hold my attention. I think it's partly because I like the fact that they put realism in their shows. Stuff like the LGBTQ content in Batwoman and in Supergirl and stuff. And I like the fact that they bring in stuff for the racism that they have to deal with in real life and stuff. That's fine. That's part of what happens in life. It should be in shows. But I don't know. They seem to like focus on it so much in Black Lightning that it seems like an after school special every week, and I think I just couldn't deal with that. I don't need the
Uh,
after school special every single week. I want to see superhero stuff.
I I did like Black Lightning quite a bit. I got through the first season and most of the second season,
I
but
saw
then
both of those seasons.
and then and I like the show, and I do want to eventually like get back and finish the show. I just kind of reached a threshold where there's only so much time I can dedicate to shows, and I had to start getting a little picky and choosy on which shows to keep up on.
I think that's part of it
Um,
with me too. And by the time I decided I had time for Black Lightning, I couldn't go back to where I left off, so I would have missed a whole bunch of
yeah,
episodes. So I got to wait now for it to go on to one of the on en masse where you can see the whole thing, and then watch the
yeah,
whole new season all together. And I might do that too. And maybe I'll deal with it better in that kind of thing than getting the little snippet once a week mixed in with everything else. It just wasn't grabbing my attention. But anyway,
yeah.
that's a tangent. Uh, but yeah, so the initial crossover was expected to be just Superman and Lois and Batwoman, which is great because that's two of their new shows. You know, Batwoman's only in its second season. Superman and Lois just premiered this season, so it would have been a nice thing. And of course, it's the classic duo, Soups and Bats. I mean, so
Yeah,
that wouldn't have been bad at all. But they decided not to do it. However, what they are doing to link the shows together is later in the seasons, most of the shows are going to get a walk on of John Diggle, which is why I've got him on the screen right now. The guy we all know as John Diggle from Arrow, probably one of the more popular of Arrow's sidekicks. Uh, Everybody liked Diggle, even though he had no powers or anything. Diggle was still a badass. and
yeah.
there's still rumors abounding that he's going to end up being, uh, kind of a John Stewart kind of replacement and be a Green Lantern at some point. So, and these touching things, because the other thing he's going to touch on is when it starts up, he's going to also have a walk-on role in Stargirl, which is
Really?
finally going to link Stargirl. There's going to be two things linking Stargirl because from what I understand, he's supposed to. Don't quote me 100% on this because a lot of these are internet stuff. I get my stuff from the internet. We all know how accurate that is. Uh,
Yeah,
but if he shows up on Stargirl, that will more solidify um, Stargirl into the CW verse. The other thing that's going to show up on Stargirl when she starts up is John Wesley Shipp is supposed to make an appearance as the one
older Barry Allen or
no
alternate Barry Allen.
no Garrick.
Garrett,
uh,
yeah,
yeah,
Jay
he's supposed
Garrick.
to
I
be.
mean, sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
confusing his
he could
new
have been older
character with his
Barry
old
Allen.
character.
He could have been older Barry Allen, or he could have been Garrick. He could play either role, and it would have
Yeah,
been appropriate. But
yeah,
because of the Silver Era Flash is just a
yeah,
society Flash, it would make perfect sense for him to have a walk-on cameo role in Stargirl, and it would be a great way to link things up, especially since all the multiverse has slammed together into one giant hodgepodge verse with everything together in one verse. That would be a way to bring Stargirl in and start bringing the shows into collision. Especially, they're getting rid of Supergirl this season. They're just not doing another season. Um,
yeah. They
and
basically don't have her in this season, half of it so far.
well, at least the last two episodes, and we'll get into that
Yeah,
later. But and I know that Melissa Benoit. Part of the reason they're not continuing the series is she said she's a little exhausted doing it every week. It's a lot to do, and
it's a
I
tough
mean,
job playing a superhero.
I mean, that's why we lost the original Batwoman. She could handle the one season. She's like, oh, that's too much for me, and she had to stop. I mean, there was no bad feelings anywhere. It was just a lot to do. Uh, so
Hmm.
um, anyway, the main gist of this particular news uh, snippet is go out and keep your eyes open for John Diggles showing up in your favorite CW shows, and do not expect a crossover event this year. But that just means next year can be a little bit bigger,
Yeah,
and then hopefully there'll be a couple new shows premiering for next year. They haven't said yet, but I mean
yeah.
they've still got the Canaries show that's supposed to be in the works. They've
I thought I heard that was canceled. I thought they
I
didn't
don't
make
know,
it past the
maybe
pilot,
maybe
and so
but they've
um
still got some other things that they can touch on. I mean, they want to
yeah,
keep the Arrowverse going, or the CW verse going, because it's one of their most popular properties right
yeah.
now. I mean, they're doing a lot better than their cinematic universe, uh, and so they want to keep that going. I mean, they're not going to end Flash anytime soon, I'm pretty sure, because Grant Gustin is still the most popular character they've got playing Flash. Um, but they're doing all kinds of different things here. So they're going to come up with some other shows. Hey, maybe eventually we'll see some crossovers between them and the Teen Titans from the DC
Oh
universe,
man,
or the Doom
yeah. The
Patrol
Titans.
and the Doom Patrol.
They are produced by Berlanti.
Yep. I mean,
Um,
if we eventually start seeing stuff like that coming in, because we don't know what they're going to do with the Titans TV show, if it's getting another season or not. But I know the Doom Patrol is supposed to be. Last I heard. So
yeah.
it would be really interesting to see um, Grant Gustin come running up to like Robot Man and checking them out, and if
According to the Vulcan Reporter, Titans season 3 should drop on HBO Max July 15th.
nice noise.
And I do overall like the CW shows, but I like Titans and Doom Patrol and those other those a little bit more.
The grittier stuff that came on DC Universe was I mean, other than Flash and Supergirl, to me, those are the two best on the CW. Flash and Supergirl are the two best on the CW. Uh, the rest, I'm hot and cold for sometimes. But otherwise, I'm so with you that the stuff that was on the DC Universe, I got DC Universe just to watch Titans. I mean, come on. And then Doom
Yeah,
Patrol, oh my god.
yeah, that was an
Doom,
unexpectedly awesome show.
those two were great. And then of course we got Stargirl to premiere on that, and then HBO Max, and then it got moved to be on the CW too. But Stargirl is kind of the ties that bind between those two sets of Berlanti shows. And if Berlanti's involved with them all, you never know. I mean, you really
Yeah,
never know, right? And
yeah.
so it'll be something amazing if it happens. I mean, there's already talk about possibly having a minor cameo between Grant Gustin and what's his name in the Flash movie. So you never know.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, they had the cameo at Crisis, so they could always reverse it and do the cameo with Ezra Miller. Is Ezra Miller? Is that him?
Yep, Ezra
Yeah,
Miller.
Ezra Miller in the Flash movie. Um, that would be amazing. I love the way that they do the continuity there, and they should take advantage of that, because it's these little Easter egg gimmicks that is putting their TV shows ahead of the Marvel TV shows, because the
Mhm.
movies are just not competing unless you count the Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut competed. The Snyder Cut was worthwhile, but otherwise,
Revive the Snyderverse.
I'm with you. Preach, brother, preach.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
now, we're gonna end that topic right now. Um, let's go into another topic here.
yeah.
For
Let's
Let me
go into
see
the
what we
Fortnite
got.
bit. The Fortnite Epic
Uh,
Games versus Apple story.
Let me see what I've got
Um,
here. I know I've got it on here somewhere. Oh wait, I think is
so
it.
for people who aren't familiar, Epic Games, the creator of Fortnite and Unreal Tournament, Unreal Engine, um, they've made a bunch of stuff. They
That
are
must
in
be the one I
court with.
closed.
They are in court right now with Apple, because I mean, basically, the reason the foundation of what they went to court over was, Fortnite has in-game purchases, right? There's in-game purchases in Fortnite where you can buy skins and whatever, but Apple has this like walled market system where you're not allowed to sell stuff within your apps, within your games. You have to buy it through Apple, and then Apple will take a 30% cut. So, and
Yeah, because I
Fortnite,
remember there was a big snafu of that with Pokemon Go.
yeah. So, Epic Games, and I don't remember the exact details of how they pulled this off, but Epic Games came up with a way to let people buy games or buy content in their game without Apple's permission directly. So Apple removed them from the Apple Store. So you can no longer download Fortnite from iPhones or other Apple devices. And so Epic Games is now suing them as a monopoly that, that is enforcing these 30% charges for anything that's in game, yada yada yada. So my point today isn't really to go over all the details of the case and the litigation and things like that. But something that caught my attention that was a bit shocking was some documentations were made public because of this lawsuit that revealed some interesting facts about Epic Games and some of their business. For instance, Fortnite itself, on its own as a singular game, in the years 2018 and 2019, its first 2 years of being out, had a revenue stream of over $9 billion. Billion with a B. That is,
Billion.
yeah, billion. That's like Dr. Evil money from The Spy Who Shagged Me, right? And, like, I was just stunned by that number amount for an individual, just one game in its first 2 years. Now, of course, not all of that is profit, but about 5.5 billion of it is. So more than half of that 9 billion is profits. The rest of it is, running
Still,
the game,
that's one
whatever,
heck of a revenue stream. That's a lot of money going into a game in 2 years' time. I mean,
Yeah.
that game in 2 years has made more than freaking the Marvel verse. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, right? I was thinking about it.
That's ridiculous.
I was like, Avengers Endgame, I think, made about $2 billion, and it took 12 years and 20 movies to build up the hype for that movie. And,
And you put all the other
that
movies
whole
back
franchise,
behind it, you're going to not get close. You're only going to barely maybe beat 9.9 billion. That's a lot of freaking money.
Yeah. And that's just the first 2 years of Fortnite. We don't have any numbers for what they made in 2020 or how it's going in 2021. That was how it was doing.
What? Yeah. Yeah. Allison says, especially when you consider how many microtransactions that was.
Yeah, it's a free to play game. All the money is being made in microtransactions.
All of it is microtransactions. Yes, Fortnite is 100% microtransaction driven.
That is a lot of money for dances. That's a lot of money for dance moves and costumes.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, dance moves, costumes, freaking skins, all that kind of stuff, backgrounds. That's all you're paying for, And
yeah. And I'm not okay, I'm personally not a fan of Fortnite. I have no problems with it being successful. I have no problems with people that enjoy the game. I'm just mind blown by one game making that kind of money that's a free to play game.
in microtransactions,
Yeah.
to pull that kind of revenue in. I mean, I would like to see what the revenue stream is for Pokemon Go. I know it's pretty high too, uh,
No,
but
something
I don't
else
think
that's
it's
come
that
out.
high.
Now, something else that's come out on this that I also thought was pretty fascinating. Um, Epic Games is really big about getting Fortnite cross-play across every platform, right?
Uh huh.
And they were one of the companies that they were really trying to push to get every company to play along together. And PlayStation was basically the last holdout. PlayStation didn't want to do cross-play because PlayStation's point of view was, if we let people play games on other platforms with people on our platform, we don't make any money off of them buying things on the other platforms, something along those lines.
Right.
And so they came up with like a set of rules where, the agreement that came out, and I don't know the exact details, it's a little bit complicated, but basically kind of boils down to PlayStation and Epic Games kind of came up with a deal where if you're playing on PlayStation with content you purchased on another platform, then Epic Games has to pay PlayStation a cut of the money that's being used on PlayStation, even if it's bought on another platform.
And that makes sense. You know, and
So
this all brings to head something though. Apple. Now, don't get me wrong. Uh, Jobs made a great computer. He really did. The problem, a lot of the problem with Apple started.
Wozniak made a great computer.
Well,
Jobs did a
yes,
really good job of selling Wozniak's really good
yeah,
computer.
that's true. Wozniak did, but Apple, their biggest problem was marketing. They were not as good at marketing as Bill Gates, and so Bill Gates buried them pretty much in the early years, and they had to refocus on certain things. And they you found them in the private sector quite a bit, in doctors' offices and graphic artist places, in schools, because they donated a bunch of computers to schools and stuff. But they weren't mainstream. Everybody mainstream had a PC because uh, Bill Gates made it to where the PC basically flooded the market, and it was good business practice. So I'm not saying that Apples are terrible computers. The biggest problem I think that Apple has is they're so overly proprietary on everything. Okay, everything put in an Apple machine is Apple made. It's all Apple, Apple specs. You've got Apple's OS. You've got Apple's hardware, Apple's software, Apple's programming language for Apple's apps. You've got, you know, the iTunes store to get stuff instead of the Google Play store. You know, you and when they make a deal, like you said, Apple has to get a big cut of it, like 33%, because they're so proprietary. If your Apple computer breaks, almost none of the private fixer upper guys are going to fix your Apple for you. You got to take it to an Apple maintenance guy because it's all Apple
Mm,
parts. You know,
yeah,
you can't just swap out and put in a generic, solid straight drive into your Apple machine and just expect it to work out of the box.
there is a whole other conversation to have about Apple and their anti self repair rules and things that they're trying to do. Like they're trying to make it illegal for people to fix their own Apple products. But that's a whole other conversation I don't really feel like getting into today, and I could go on about that for an hour on its own.
Oh yeah,
Um,
having both of us
uh,
worked
as
in
as
IT.
as a professional IT guy, I have a lot of thoughts and things to say on that specific subject that I don't really want to tie up with for this here.
And I
Um,
worked in IT, and I'll tell you the same thing.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a can of worms we're not opening right now.
yeah.
But just to say, Apple needs to look at their things and reevaluate. I mean, yes, at the time when they were smaller and were not in the mainstream and just trying to survive, keeping everything in house is probably a smart move. But now that they're trying to break into the mainstream and everything, and they're doing Windows cloning and Windows porting. They're porting all the games from PC, and PCs is able to do just as much graphic editing as Apple is now. They're on par in the abilities and stuff. I mean, Apple's still a good, strong machine, but um, they need to get to the point now where they realize that this is a shared market, and you can't be a product island. You got to work with
Yeah,
other people, because when a game developer goes to make a game now for a computer, they start making it for the PC because it's just plain easier.
yeah.
They have less heartache to deal with, and then they port it to Apple, which means Apple gets the ported product, which is by definition the lesser quality potential product, because a
Yeah.
port is almost never the best
So
version of a game.
so
It's
yeah,
just not.
a part about this whole lawsuit thing is a lot of people feel that Apple is charging way too much for their cut. They're wanting 30% to have your games on their marketplace, which is the same cut that Steam does at 30%. The difference between Steam and the Apple Store is on Apple devices, the Apple Store is the only way to get apps or
Anything.
software on their hardware, whereas Steam is just one of several storefronts on the PC. So there's not as much of a lawsuit against Steam for that because they can be a monopoly. They're just the software, not both parts.
Not to
Also,
mention the whole thing about everybody going over to microtransactions.
yeah, there's that, and and Apple wants 30% of all those microtransactions too. And then something else that's fascinating that's not really about the lawsuit, but it is about Epic and Microsoft and their competition or how they're competing. Because Epic Games has their own storefront on the computer, and they only charge They only charge a 12% cut on anything purchased through their store, and which is and now Microsoft just announced they're going to do the same thing.
Uh huh.
Microsoft Store just announced that they are going to lower their cut down to 12% to match with Epic Games. So now you got Epic Games and Microsoft Store with Xbox games that you can play on PC and whatnot, and Windows games you can play on there, where they're only charging developers 12%, whereas Steam and Apple are still charging 30%. I think we're going to see a shift. I feel like this is the beginning of a shift in who people want to push for their content going forward. If you're a developer, where do you want to sell your game? The store that charges 30% or the store that charges you 12%?
Yep, and there's only a couple of considerations that is in the favor of Steam and Apple in this regard. Apple, like I said, the main consideration is the fact that if you use Apple hardware, you're stuck. It's your only
Yeah,
option. Steam, the big thing with Steam is that there's certain countries in the world where that's the only platform that they can run certain games
yeah,
at a reasonable price. It's through the Steam platform, because Steam does some things with other countries, adjusting for the income of the country and stuff, so that higher priced games can be marketed in lower income areas at a smaller price without affecting the global market. So that's something that Steam does. But is it going to be enough? That's the thing. I mean, if Microsoft and Epic and some of these other games companies and everybody start jumping on the 12 to 15% bandwagon and stay away from that 30% bandwagon, uh, are they going to be able to survive the market? Because I
yeah,
mean, almighty dollar is the biggest voting thing we've got. You know, that's what we vote with, is our wallets.
yeah.
You think your ballot in every 4 years of the election is important? No, it's that dollar you spend at the register. That's what votes most things in nowadays.
And then there was one last point I wanted to bring up that's came out because of this court case. The Epic storefront that right now it's only charging 12%. They're also putting out a lot of free games. Like every week or so, they're putting out a free game or two to
Hmm.
try to help incentivize people to come into the Epic Games front. Um, it's losing money, right? It's losing hundreds of millions of dollars. But when they got Fortnite, when they're making billions off Fortnite, they can afford to lose hundreds of millions on the Epic storefront. But their plans came out that they are estimating that it won't be profitable or it won't break even until 2023.
Hey,
It opened a couple years ago. So they started off with a 5-year plan to break even in 5 years of being open. And they've been investing heavily in these free games and other marketing ploys to get people into their service. And since they're charging such a lower cut, the return isn't as fast. But they're playing the long game. And they can afford to because Fortnite made them billions of dollars.
okay. I'm gonna show my age here by bringing something up. Okay, yes, they're taking a loss on their Epic Game storefront, but you know what? Who else did that several years back? VHS.
Yeah.
Betamax was a better technology, but VHS took a loss and flooded the market. And do you have? I mean, nowadays you don't even hear of a VHS tape, but
Yeah.
more people have heard of a VHS tape than even realize a Betamax tape existed, because they knocked Beta out of the market completely by just undercutting the prices and taking a loss for a couple of years. Loss for a couple of years, your competitor goes out of business, basically, moves their stuff elsewhere, then you can move your prices back up to something where you're making a profit. That's business.
And oftentimes by then you've gotten more efficient at producing the product, so you can keep the same price but still maintain profitability.
you just don't end
Had
up
to get
lowering
through
it.
those first few years. Yeah. A lot of the cost on things is developmental costs, and then the early stages of production costs tend to come from materials, but materials tend to get more cost effective over time.
Well, basically, look at it this way: the initial startup cost for a business that builds you something is they have to build the factory. Once the factory's
Yeah,
built, it's doing its work, and you're just replacing
yeah,
parts as they break or need to be updated. But you don't have to build a
yeah,
whole new factory until you need to build a whole new factory to expand.
yep,
So
yep.
you've got that one product that's churning its stuff out. Same thing,
Yeah,
you build a game engine. Once the game engine's built, you're just inputting code. You don't need to build the engine again until you refine it and make 2.0, 3.0. You know,
yeah.
so your
It's kind
initial
of wild
startup
how
costs get absorbed.
it's kind of wild to me just how much Epic has been growing over the years.
Well,
But yeah, I think that covers everything that we really need to talk about when it comes to this new Epic game stuff.
yeah.
Tons of profit, the store losing money, but it can afford it. PlayStation not wanting to play ball until they felt that they were being financially incentivized to do so. So yeah, it's all cool
Okay.
stuff. I think we're ready for another show.
Yep, and I think since we
Mm,
already kind of touched on it, let's go ahead and go into Supergirl,
Okay.
uh, which is there. Supergirl, because we touched on it with some of the stuff we were talking about earlier. Um, you up there, so you're on the screen. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, Supergirl this week. Oh my God! Again, like
2 episodes of Supergirl's Friends
this.
without any
This is
Supergirl.
Supergirl, the early years. It's
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
It did have
It's not.
young Kara.
It's young Kara. There's no Melissa Benoit. Uh, we get Brainiac 5. We get Dreamer, but we get a young version of Alex. We get a young version of Kara, a young version of Cat Grant, and and that's it.
Yeah,
So a lot of people were wondering if Cat Grant was going to come back to the show. Yes, she did in a way, but as a very young version.
yeah.
But
Different actresses.
yeah, because this is a flashback kind of thing, but it's a time travel flashback, and we didn't even use the Flash or the Wave Rider. So
No,
you'd
no.
think they'd have called the Wave Rider, when they
the
needed.
lead Well, the Legionnaires are the Legion of Heroes,
Super
whatever. They have time
that
travel.
Brainiac 5 comes
I mean,
from. Yeah,
Brainiac's from the future,
that's
so they
true.
got their own time travel business. Time
Yeah,
travel methods.
yeah, but as you can see, Brainiac's not always the best navigator in time.
But to be fair, neither were the Legends.
Well,
half
the Wave
half their show
Riders.
is half their show is them screwing up and then having to fix their mistakes.
Yeah, but the actual navigation of the time stream, the Wave Rider itself was actually pretty decent
Yeah,
navigate. The
yeah,
computer
that's
navigated
true.
really well. Um,
Gideon gets them to the exact moments that they aim for.
and of course, we find out in the Flash that Gideon was programmed by uh, Barry Allen. Barry Allen created Gideon. So, uh, hey, what's up, Godzilla Willie? Welcome to the show again this week. We're talking right now about Supergirl. Spoiler alert, of course. Now, anyway, let's get into the depth of the show, okay? If you
Go ahead.
watched last week, um, Dreamer and Brainiac 5 um, come to the past to basically the day before prom night in Smallville. They were aiming for prom night, but they they ended up the
No,
day before.
it wasn't Smallville. It was
I mean, not Smallville, but where Kara and
Alex grew up,
Alex
which
grew up.
I can't. Midvale? Is that the name of it?
Midvale, yes. Yeah, I'd say Smallville because I've got Superman on the brain. But
Yeah.
no, Midvale. They come back to Midvale the day before prom night because they need to get some of Kara's DNA off of a meteorite that actually punctured her skin. So there's a little bit of blood. It's the first time Alex ever remembers Kara having bled, period, since she's known her. And they need the blood because they've got the Master Phantom under captivity, and he's basically a bloodhound. So if they can get the blood, the DNA to that Phantom, the Phantom can be used to track Kara in the Phantom Zone. And so that's what the plot synopsis is. And only Brainiac 5 and Dreamer could go back because pretty much anybody else is at risk of maybe coming across an earlier version of themselves, of the team, with some exceptions. I mean, like Mrs. Manhunter could have gone back. It's kind of iffy whether Martian Manhunter could have because we don't know what form he might have been in there, keeping an eye on him for their dad because it was mentioned that he did that.
But as the Martian Manhunter, he could have shapeshifted and looked like anybody.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have fooled himself.
Oh yeah, if he ran into himself.
And that's the thing
true.
is, so it would have been. It's better probably not to bring a Martian at all because of the whole mind telepathy thing. Plus, it was kind of important to see. I think they wanted to show Dax and Dreamer handling crises without everybody else jumping in to help. And I think that was the important part of the 2-part episode because that's basically what it is. Last week and this week was a 2-part single episode. This is just one long episode split into 2. It was Prom Night 1, Prom Night 2.
Yeah.
And
episode 1 was called Prom Night. The second episode was Prom Again.
Yes. So basically, it's the same episode, just it was too long to be in one, so they cut it in half.
Yeah.
And we get to meet Kara's early best friend and semi-love interest. We get to hear about her going to college, getting ready to get accepted. We meet a couple of alien menagerie holders who want to capture Kryptonian for their menagerie. And then they get all excited when they can, hey, not only get a Kryptonian, but we get, one of Dreamer's species and Brainiac species, because Brainiac's a recognized species, even though we know that the initial Brainiac was developed by the Kryptonians.
Brainiac's a Coluan, which is a whole species. There's like a whole planet of Coluans.
I know.
Um,
But if you look at the mythology of Superman at the very beginning, Brainiac 1 was a developed program by
yeah.
the Kryptonians. So somehow the Brainiacs became Coluans, but we never get it detailed as to how that happened. Um, anyway, we've got Dax, Brainiac 5, Dax.
No, yeah, no, we don't have Dax. We got
Not
Brainiac
Dax.
5, Brainy.
Brainy. Yeah, that's the best way to name him. Brainy. We got Brainy binge eating for stress. I mean, if you
Yeah.
look at the last few episodes of Supergirl, he's always has something in his mouth. Donuts,
Mm-hmm.
chips, nuts, something. He's always munching on something because he's eating his
Got
feelings, as Dreamer tells him. Um,
yeah.
and then he jumps into all these scholastic things when they infiltrate the high school pre-prom. So he's hitting freaking line balls and stuff in baseball. He's helping with the choir. He's in the chess club. He's in the theater club. You know, he's supposed to be keeping a low profile, and he ends up joining every club imaginable.
And being exceptionally good at all of them.
Well, because he's a computer. You know,
Yeah,
he's really, really good.
he's an android from way into the future.
Yeah, he adapts really well to everything. Uh, needless to say, it does help his self-esteem and stuff a little bit, which is hard to believe that an android has a self-esteem problem. But hey, give him an emotional circuit. Look what happens.
Yeah. Androids have feelings too. Have you played Detroit Become Human? It's kind of the whole point of that game.
I hate that game. It's so
Oh,
boring. So boring. Uh, anyway, I tried it. It's just boring. Uh,
fine.
anyway, I know a lot of people like it.
Yeah,
Um,
brainy, emotional.
yeah.
And we talked already a little bit about the first episode of it last week, and the second episode, or part 2 of this episode, really.
We have Cat Grant using a drone to catch them in the act. Now, it's kind of neat that she's got a drone, and was it 2009 that's supposed to be? And, you know, drones weren't real super mainstream in use at that time by private individuals. But then again, Cat Grant's got some money behind her.
Here's my messed up perception on the time, right? Because they were like, oh, we got to go, 15 years in the past. And I'm thinking like 1995. And then I see like things from the 2000s, and the show's like, oh, no, wait. 15 years was, or whatever, 12 years or whatever wasn't that far back ago. Crap.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of mix up in the time because I still have a little bit of a disjointing when Kat has a mini drone with full camera capabilities that links to her phone. We didn't have that technology for private individuals, not for private individuals in 2009.
Did it link to her phone?
Yeah, she could watch the video on her phone and stuff.
Oh man.
Or on her handheld controller, but either way, that was still full color video on a drone in 2009 to a private individual. That private individual needs to be Bill Gates.
Did you catch that joke? Did you catch the joke where the alien sniffs Cat Grant's phone and goes, "That doesn't smell anything like a BlackBerry"?
Yes, I did. Yes, the BlackBerry joke was funny, especially when you looked at her phone, and her phone didn't even look like a BlackBerry; it looked like a flip phone. But yeah, there's all kinds of interesting stuff. We find out that Dreamer has got this ability to bring stuff out of her dreams.
Yeah,
that was interesting. Bringing out that Pink Panther.
Yeah, and then it helped. Yeah.
Oh wait, and the Panther Cat Grant.
The Pink Panther chased off the Pink Panther chased off the aliens help save them for a few seconds.
And then, of course, the cage that held the panther had PW on it, and we find out that that's representative of Perry White caging Cat Grant and her let's call it motivation, her drive, her everything. He was caging her drive to succeed. Kept putting her in gossip things and little splash pieces, and she's a driven woman. And then of course, and she's called CJ through most of the show, and then Dreamer calls her Cat and gives her like a pep talk near the end, with her not knowing who Dreamer is. Just she does like an observational thing, saying she's like she's a journalism student, and she admires Cat Grant and all this, and she lets a few things slip, like, "Hey, you know Oprah." I do. Well, you're the kind of person who should know Oprah. And
yeah, one day in the future, you should know her.
I have no doubt you'll know Oprah. And she lets a few things slip. They're playing really loosey goosey with the time stream here, but ends up that Cat says, "You know what, Cat? That sounds better. That sounds." So she decides at that point to go by Cat Grant. So you get some good background stuff. They initially catch the menagerie keepers, and Brainiac says he sends them to be collected by the intergalactic police, which don't exist, we know. Well, in a way they do, and in a way they don't, because in the DC
I was going to say
there are the Green Lanterns.
They just don't come to Earth
yet. Yeah, so they do exist. The Green Lantern Corps is out there. We just haven't been introduced to them in the CW verse yet. Directly. We've hinted, but we've not been introduced. But anyway, so Brainy says he's doing that, but in actuality, he cloaks him, hides him, has a ship pre-programmed to show up someplace 3 days later, where history shows that the DOA found them and took them in.
Yeah, the DEO.
The DEO, right? Yeah. The DEO, the Department of Extraterrestrial Affairs, or DEA, something like that. They haven't used it in so long, I forget. But anyway, where Alex used to work. Where Alex and Martian Manhunter used to work. Anyway, so but Cat Grant comes to the cloaked ship, says, "I know you're here," and she starts throwing pebbles, and pebbles break a fucking cloaking device. Oh my god!
Yeah,
that's a crappy ass cloaking device. Let me tell you.
No. I mean, the cloaking device just made it invisible, right? And the pebbles, the stones, they were just bouncing off of it and making it kind of have a bit of a shockiness.
The second or third one made it fully appear.
No, you're right. You're right. And then after she broke the cloaking device, she then found some buttons.
She messed with buttons and made it open up and let the guys loose. I mean, come on, people. Where did they get their ship from? Acme? It's the Acme Earth invasion ship. Wile E. Coyote's coming up later to pilot it. I mean, come on.
Yeah, no kidding.
That was some cheesy shit.
Yeah, it was way too easy for Cat to free those monstrous aliens that were attacking everybody. And then when they come out and they got guns, they were locked up with their guns, I think, right? Didn't they come off the locked-in ship with their guns in hand?
They came off the ship, but we don't know if she let them loose and they had time to go find their gun locker. They just left that in the nethers. But that's what I'm assuming. If anybody was to ask, like Berlanti, that's what he's going to say. Oh, yeah, before they came out, they went to the gun locker and got their guns and stuff. Oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But that was pretty quick. It was pretty quick.
But then Cat's just like, he's like, "Would you like to make a statement to these aliens? I'm Cat Grant. I'm a reporter. Would you like to make a statement?" I'm like, are you crazy? You were watching off a drone these aliens attacking people. So
Yeah, but Kat believes in that whole immunity of the press. Nobody attacks the press. You could be a war
yeah,
correspondent. It doesn't matter. Nobody attacks you because you're the press. Doesn't happen, people. The press can
yeah.
get attacked. Ask Lois. She's been attacked a lot.
Yeah.
Lois gets kidnapped every other issue of Superman. I mean, come on.
She used to. She doesn't get kidnapped as often anymore, and that's actually been
No.
brought up in on a recent comic book where someone was like, "I have a plan. I'm going to abduct. I'm going to abduct Lois Lane. Do not do that. Why? That is the idea that everyone has that causes them to get their plans ruined.
You want to piss
Anything
Superman off?
involving,
You.
yeah, that's the fastest way to piss off Superman. Like criminals have learned that now.
You
That
abduct.
attacking Lois Lane will just
You
piss off Superman.
abduct Lois or Jimmy, and Creeps is going to get you. That's always how it's. The earlier years, that's what happened. Lois or Jimmy or both got kidnapped, and Superman to the rescue. So if you
Yeah,
abduct Lois or Jimmy, you're fucked
yeah.
because that's
So,
what will piss the big guy off.
so I'll admit I mean, it's nice to see Brainy and Dreamer get some more time. You know, a little more screen time to do their stuff.
Some
But
focus. We
yeah,
want
I
Melissa
like them
Benoit.
getting. I do like them getting some more focus, but it was also at the expense of having no Melissa Benoit at all, and
And
just
come on,
overall the
it's the
episode
last
was
season. We want to
yeah.
see as much of Melissa Benoit as we can before she goes.
They just felt I don't know. I felt like they were a little fast and loose with. I mean, even for Supergirl, they felt a little fast and loose with believability with this episode.
The whole time they didn't pay a whole lot of attention to the time frame that they were supposed to be
Yeah,
going into. Like I said, the drone, the BlackBerry. There's so many things. That, the freaking cloaking device that dies on a pebble.
yeah.
They were
And then
not.
and I was kind of annoyed with Brainy. Brainy's supposed to like I know he's having an emotional problem at the moment, but I still don't see them. I still don't see him completely like ignoring the mission while exercising and doing choir and joining baseball and all these other things that like relieve stress when he's concerned about breaking the time-space continuum.
Right.
And so
Exactly.
he for being so stressed about not messing up the time-space continuum, he then played it really fast and loose with how he interacts with the world.
Yep, that's true. And I mean, let's face it, they have uh, influenced Kara enough in the past now that she could technically remember their visit.
Yeah.
And Alex could too. Uh,
Yeah, they could
and her
recognize
buddy.
them now.
Yes, that's the thing. So they should not have gotten that close. And it's very much a Back to the Future thing. We should be seeing a picture with things disappearing. Uh, uh, but
Also, and then they did it. There was a point near the end of the second part episode where they had failed, and like cops showed up to arrest, Supergirl to arrest young Kara, and everything was wrong, and then they decided to use the time machine, their time ship again to jump back a couple hours, which they jumped back 4 hours instead of 2 because this is. Both episodes, they jump back further than they intended to.
Because Brainy's a terrible time navigator.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not very good at time
For being an
navigation.
nth level intellect, he's a terrible time navigator.
Yeah. I guess this is not his expertise. He needs Gideon. So, anyway, they jump back in time again. Kara stowed away with them to try to fix things.
Didn't that give you kind of the feel of Bill and Ted 2 when they were saying, okay, remember, when we get back to the future, we need to go and do this. And that and stuff, and little micro changes in the future felt like the Back to the Future, the Bill and Ted episode, the second movie when they were doing that, it's like, Now, remember a cage. Shink. Cage falls on the bad guy. Ah, but I too go back and I make a key and a laser gun, another gun. Yes, but we replace the key and replace the gun. I was like, no, those little micro jumps in the past and the future and stuff. No, don't go there, guys. The other thing they should have
Yeah,
done, I think, for both episodes, but at least one of the episodes, is they should have at least blipped over to the Phantom Zone and showed cars struggling, even if it was like a
yeah,
2 minute clip. Just give us 2 minutes. You
yeah,
know, they could have done that. They could have used
yeah.
stock footage and given us a 2 minute clip, but
Yeah, so
because just to remind us, hey, while all this is going on, Melissa Benoit is in the middle of the freaking Phantom Zone fighting for her freaking life. Insanity.
my guess is the justification of not having anything of that time period being shown is that when Dreamer and Brainy return to the present, they're going to be returned to like just seconds after they left.
Well, yeah, but
So
time can be
nothing else has
different in the
happened.
but time can be slightly different in the Phantom Zone. You never know. So
Yeah,
they even
I mean,
all they had to do is show us a 2 minute clip. Nothing big. I'm not saying that Melissa Benoit didn't even have to say anything. Her dad didn't even have to need to say anything. The most is like a phantom screech. That's it. That's the only sound I really need to hear. Let me hear a phantom screech and the wind
well,
blow through the tree, through the ruins as they're running. That's good. Great.
the
Excellent.
previous episode the last time we saw adult Supergirl was her and the fifth dimensional implement, and she having her powers and them challenging each other.
Right.
And
And
that was
they could have just showed the standoff. They didn't have to
yeah,
show it starting. They could have just did a still practically. Just give us something. Throw us a
yeah.
bone, man. Okay, but that's
So
that's enough on Supergirl. We're almost
yeah, yeah,
we're after
yeah,
9 o'clock,
yeah,
and of
yeah. We
course
talked.
this is our Mortal Kombat spoiler episode because we didn't do it last week or the week before,
Yeah,
and so we're
yeah.
gonna want a
We
big
talked a
chunk of
lot
time for
about
that.
Supergirl.
So let's go ahead on to
Yeah.
your other topics.
Okay. So my next thing I was want to talk about is Marvel just put out a couple of days ago a little teaser trailer that kind of shows release dates for a bunch of upcoming films that we know about, and it's pretty exciting. They got all kinds of new stuff. I mean, they got all kinds of like we got 4 Marvel movies just coming out this year, starting in July. Like we've got Black Widow, then we've got Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, then we've got the Eternals, and then Spider-Man No Way Home, just in the last half of this year. And then in the beginning, the first part of the next year, we got Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness and Thor Love and Thunder in the first part of the next year. So we've got, between now and next summer, 6 or 7 Marvel MCU films coming out.
And that's
They
not to
also,
mention the TV series.
huh?
And
Yeah,
that's not even
not to mention
including the
the
TV series. Yeah.
exactly. That's not including the TV shows. And then they also revealed. I think I don't know if it was confirmed in the past, but they did show for sure the title for the next Ant-Man movie. They mentioned it, and it's going to be Quantum Manium,
Or the
something like
subtitle.
that. Yeah, as a subtitle. And Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was listed on there with a date, and we've got. I'm trying to find the quick list here. We got the next Captain Marvel movie is going to be called The Marvels, and will apparently be about both Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel.
Right.
The Kamala Khan character.
Right.
And some photos have just come out of that actress recently in costume on set for the TV show, the Miss Marvel TV series. Anyway, the trailer that they just put out got me all kinds of hyped. Do you want to go ahead and start playing that?
Yeah, I'll start playing it.
All right. And
Now,
for
this
copyright reasons, we got to probably chat a little bit. But yeah, this is a new trailer that was just put out 2 days ago for Phase 4 Marvel. It starts off with a few quick shots of existing movies already before it gets to showing the newer stuff.
Incredible thing in the world.
What are you doing?
So it's
So we
linking
got
Ant-Man
That
and
world may change
Spider-Man
and
and-
evolve,
Doctor Strange.
but the one thing that will never change, we're all part of one big
yeah,
family.
Wanda and Vision. Age of Ultron. So yeah, it's like going back to the movies, you know.
Groot.
We are Groot, the original Groot, who's now dead.
That man next to you,
Baby Groot's a whole other personality.
that woman over there.
It's like his
she's your
son,
sister.
basically.
Fire further, faster, baby. That's right.
We're
And-
all part of one universe
I mean,
that moves
There we
ever
go.
upward. and
Wakanda
on
forever!
greater glory.
Man, I love that moment with Doctor Strange with his like the multiple arms and shit.
Existing in several times at once.
On your left.
Well, it was like multiple copies of him. On your left. God, I remember the theaters were wild that day when I saw Avengers Endgame for the first time.
The audience reaction to it.
Yeah, the audience reaction to that. That's what I missed about the movie theaters is you can't get the audience reaction watching it
Yeah,
on
it's that
HBO
visceral
Max.
experience.
Yeah. So now we're getting some really quick shots, and then we're about to get the new footage here in just a couple more seconds, or the newer movie stuff. You know, we had to celebrate all the old stuff. So we got some Black Widow here,
But I'm done running from my past.
and then
Yeah, we're not done with
It looks
Scarlett
like-
Johansson yet.
yeah. So I think this movie is intended to set up the blonde one as the
Yeah.
new Black Widow. So we got that in July,
Yeah, it's the introduction.
and then we got.
Black Widow 2. Shang-Chi.
Yeah, we got Shang-Chi, Legend of the Ten Rings
You fight for it.
in September. And then this one's Eternals, which I'm really looking forward to in
Oh,
November.
yes. And then No Way Home. Spider-Man. Doctor
Yep,
Strange into
Spider-Man.
the Multiverse. Thor Love and Thunder. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
So they finally have a title for the Wakanda movie.
Yeah, Wakanda forever!
The Marvels and Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania, and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. There's so much going on. And look at that Fantastic Four kind of
Fantastic
tease.
Four!
That was a tease.
We don't have a
for
release
Four.
date. Yeah, we don't have a release date for Fantastic Four, but that was definitely a tease.
A tease.
In one of the threads I've seen of this, someone was asking, "Hey, does anybody else think that 4 kind of looks like the Fantastic Four symbol?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that was definitely a tease for Fantastic Four." So get ready to get hyped for some MCU films. I'm really looking forward to being able to get back into the cinemas, getting back to the movie theaters, and watching my favorite MCU films again. You know,
Yeah, because
being able.
something visceral about being in the theater for some like Endgame or something, because they've got the big screen is needed for that first viewing. You don't want to watch Doctor Strange first on a little TV screen or on your phone or something.
Yeah.
You want to watch it
So,
in IMAX surround.
of the movies on that list, which one has you the most excited? Which one are you most hyped for?
Being who I am, I have to say I got to go for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse.
Oh.
Doctor Strange is my favorite character in Marvel.
High five!
You got that? Because he's my favorite. He's been my favorite character since it was introduced.
That's mine too. That's mine too. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. Is
plus it's going to tie up some of the strings from Wanda and Vision.
Yeah. I did just read that they did some rewrites. I just read that they did a little bit of rewriting for the Doctor Strange movie because they had originally planned on Doctor Strange appearing in WandaVision, but they chose not to, so that the show could focus better on Wanda instead of having supposedly. I don't know if this is true, but supposedly Kevin Feige said he's like he didn't feel it was a good idea to have this this white guy suddenly show up and be like, now this is how things work or whatever kind of a thing in the middle of her show.
Right.
And I can't disagree with that. If that's true, I don't know if that was actually said. I haven't found the video footage of it. So that's what someone has said online. But I did find and that was in the comments section of an article I was reading about them doing some rewrites because of the Doctor Strange not appearing in WandaVision. And I don't think it's going to be a lot of rewrites. I'm sure it's just like a little bit for to help, introduce Wanda into the movie or something like that. You know what I mean?
It's Sir not
To
appearing
kinda
in
get
this picture.
But yeah, Doctor Strange is one I'm the most excited for, with Thor being the one I'm looking forward to the next most.
I don't know. I think Shang-Chi is, my second favorite because I want to see the introduction of the martial artist. I'm
looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to all of them.
Right.
But my top two are Strange and Thor.
My top three are.
Go ahead.
My top three would have to be Doctor Strange, Shang-Chi, and only slightly lower than Shang-Chi would be Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because I'm a big fan of the Guardians of the Galaxy. And, of course, Thor is kind of riding along with the Guardians of the Galaxy, too, right now. So,
yeah, with the way the Thor was done with Ragnarok, and I'm pretty sure isn't it still going to be...
That's how they ended in Endgame.
Isn't Taika Waititi doing Thor Love and Thunder?
I think
he's the director of that again.
He's doing Love and Thunder.
He did a good job. Yeah.
So there's going to be links between Love and Thunder and Guardians of the Galaxy 3, obviously, because Thor's going to appear in both.
Yeah. So, not a whole lot. I wanted to take up a lot of time on that. I just kind of wanted to let people know that was a thing that's happening, or a thing that's just recently happened, and I want people to get hyped again for the movies.
Right, the movies are coming out. It's going to be glorious.
Yeah,
and that's the thing is, I'm immunocompromised, and I'm got to be real cautious about when I go out. So it's probably a while before I hit theaters.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's understandable.
I did go to a picnic a couple weekends ago, and then look at me. I've been sick as a dog since. That day is the day, in fact, it started. It wasn't COVID. No. It was actually the kid brought it home a couple of days before from school, but still, it doesn't make me feel real great about going out.
Yeah. Don't blame you, man. Don't blame you. Since you have the Returnal picture up on the screen, it's a little bit small. But did you have that up? Want me to go ahead and talk about that?
Yeah, I'm going to make it bigger too.
Okay. So last week I mentioned that Returnal was coming out on Friday, and it was this hot new looking game that's kind of the first original PS5 exclusive. If I remember right, because I know Demon Souls was a remake of a PS3 game, and then Spider-Man Miles Morales is on both PS4 and PS5. And there's been a few other games that are on PS5 and PS4 and maybe Xbox Series X or whatever. But Returnal is the first original only on PS5 game that as far as I can recall, I'm pretty sure it's the only one so far. And it's made by House Marquee, which mostly has been known for making arcade style games. But this one has got a gameplay loop that's almost arcadey, but it's in this dreary outer space horror vibe aesthetic. And so you're going around and things are kind of creepy because you never know when there's going to be a monster that's really strong just around the corner. And so I talked a little bit about it last week because it was coming out soon. And I'm just talking about it a little bit today because I played it last night. I live streamed my first 2 hours of playing the game of it last night. So if anyone is interested in seeing the actual gameplay and seeing my experience with that, you can find that over on the Left Claw Studios by searching Left Claw Studios on YouTube. And it's under our live footage that is like archived on there. You can always go and watch on that. Any live stream I do gets archived on YouTube. And I think the same is true, or a lot of it is true for Gamer Suits, at least for our Game Time shows.
I don't. Game Time, I actually physically move it over to YouTube after we're done.
Yeah.
Because I don't simulcast onto YouTube.
So something that's really great about this game is like, kind of like an arcade game, you are rewarded for going, dealing enough damage to enemies without taking damage, and it gives you like adrenaline boosts because you've been successfully dodging attacks and stuff. And like you jump in the air and then go dash sideways with like a little rocket boost. And so you're like dodging blasts that are coming at you. It's like a kind of a bullet hell where there's all kinds of blasts coming at you from different angles. You're having to duck and dodge and dash and get out of the way of while you're trying to shoot them, and you're picking up upgraded weapons. And part of the gimmick is you have one life to get through like the whole stage. And if you die, you go back to the beginning of the crash site. And it's all built into the story. Like in the beginning of the game, you come across your corpse on the ground. You find your own corpse on the ground. Like she finds an astronaut and the helmet says Selena and it's her. And like throughout the game, you'll find corpses here and there of yourself where you can like pick up supplies. So you can pick up supplies off your dead body. But some of these off your own dead body. Some of these dead bodies are deaths that you haven't yet had, that your character hasn't yet had. Seemingly,
you're in time loop kind of thing.
Yeah, you're in some kind of a weird time loop thing where every time you die, you come back. But some of them seem to be instances that because you don't remember everything, And her memory is starting to get a little bit better. You are finding recordings. Like, it's a mystery still. What is going on? Like, I'm still not entirely sure what all is going on, but a lot of there's like audio recordings, scout logs that are around that have a recording of Selena talking about something she's found or what her thoughts are on this and that. And the one you're playing, the Selena that you're currently playing, doesn't remember these things. And at one point, you come across her childhood house in the game on this weird planet. And you go in there, and then there's like things in her house. Like, there's a photo on a dresser that was taken after she left that house. That she wouldn't even have memories of that picture being there. So I don't know what's going on, but it's got some great elements. Creep vibes. Yeah, and it helps. I got surround sound. If you don't have an actual surround sound, I would recommend like getting like 3D audio headphones, which I'm thinking of still getting, because it makes great use of the audio. It's like you can hear a monster off to the right, and you're like, oh shit, and you like swivel to the right. It's like, where is it? Where is it? And you hear them like kind of scuttling around. And then the controller, the DualSense controller, I think this is the first game that really, like I was saying it on my live stream, you can feel the raindrops hitting your hands in the controller. Like if it's raining, if you're in an area of the game where it's raining, and it's not just like your whole controller is vibrating. I mean, it's very precise vibrations in the controller that makes it legit feel like raindrops hitting your hands.
So the haptic response is that finite.
Yeah. And whenever, like, I'd heard that this game did a really good job with it, and I was like, that's cool, I can't wait. And then when I felt it, I was like, oh my god, that is far beyond whatever I anticipated this tech could do. I was like, I can seriously feel this rain. It's really hard to verbally describe that feeling. But so I highly recommend anyone that's able to get their hands on a PS5 to give this game a try. I know it might feel like a hard sell because it's $70, but I haven't heard from anyone who regretted paying the $70 for the game. I'm only a couple hours in, but I am having a blast with it.
And
and I can't wait to play
$70 for
more.
a new game is not that expensive, really, when you think about it.
Yeah. And as so far, I haven't seen any signs of like currently. There's no DLC or in-app purchases or anything like that. It's $70 and you bought it. They might release something down the road. I don't know what future plans are, but at least currently, there's no announcements or anything I know of to get you to pay anything extra.
So no
So-
microtransactions.
Yeah,
So
no
far.
microtransactions. So I really hope this game does well because I like it a lot. It's something new that Housemarque is trying. Housemarque. I'm not sure the proper pronunciation of their company name,
Housemarque,
but
probably.
it's something. I feel it's a huge step up over what they've done in the past, and while still remaining kind of experimental in game design. And that is something we need to encourage more in the video game industry. Too many video games, a lot of video games kind of rely on a very specific mold or whatever,
Formula.
This is an original IP that's trying some new stuff that's not quite what we've seen before. I feel like it's a little bit of an experimental game, and we need to celebrate that, especially because of how good it is and how fun it is to play. The gameplay loop is just crazy. The only downside, the only gripe I know of about it is there's no save states. So, it saves. Basically, the save is back at the crash site. So if you turn the game off, and when you boot it back up, you're back at the crash site. So you're back to, level 0 gear. And the map has been... That's something else. Every time you respawn... the world has changed. The arrangement of the planet is different now. So the rooms are in different orders and stuff. And so it's never... And then what pickups you find and what power-ups you find vary from one run to another. So there's that, instant replayability with it,
There's a nostalgia bit to that because old RPGs on the PC used to do that all the time where... just think of things like Gauntlet, where every time you went, the layout was different because they randomized the layout, or Dragon's Lair, or something like that. You didn't do them all in the same order because they had a randomizer set in, so every time you play the game, it was a little bit different.
Yeah, and so it's got some interesting different elements to it. It was interesting how there's no start screen. You launch the game. Right, when you first launch the game, it comes up as confirm your default settings. Subtitles at this size, whatever color, brightness like this. Then once you confirm those, it goes right into a short cutscene, and then the game starts. There's no press start to begin the game or anything like that. It just kind of goes, which threw me off when I had to prepare to stream because something I've learned to do with most games is to go ahead and launch the game and make sure there's not some pre-playing setup I need to do to make sure the game is ready. And I tried to do that with Returnal, but there's no start menu. So the cutscene just started playing right away. And then I tried to exit the game and relaunch it whenever I was ready to stream, and it relaunched as if I had died and was coming back in. So I deleted the game save and then came back and then started the stream, and then launched the game after starting the stream. So that was a little bit wonky. Unexpected.
Yeah, unexpected.
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
So it gives you that whole hardcore mode right off the bat.
Yeah.
One life to live. You can live it over and over and over again, but you get to one life.
Yeah. So yeah, the only thing that people don't like, the only gripe that I know of anyone has had is if you want to stop what you're doing for any reason, say you're 2 hours into a run and you want to stop playing. Maybe you want to play something else. You can't unless you're willing to lose your current run and go back to the crash site. Go back to the beginning of the stage and lose your power-ups that you've been collecting. That's the only downside. And then the other downside to the same thing is the developer said if you want to turn off the game and do something else, you can put the system in sleep mode. And if you put it in sleep mode, it'll save where you were. Except if while in rest mode, the PlayStation or the game decides to do an update and it auto updates and then the auto update closes your game. Then you lose your current
Or
progress.
if you have to open up any other app on the PlayStation, then it closes your game.
Yeah. So that is the only downside, which, I mean, usually, and most people, when they talk about it hasn't been an issue really to me so much, but people who did mention it, they'll be like, it sucks if you're an hour and a half into a run or 2 hours into a run and you have to turn it off for the night. And then it auto quits your game overnight because it updates or something. And so that's definitely a concern. People are asking that they somehow put in some sort of a save option so that you can, turn off your system and then come back and then just let the save delete itself at when you enter another room or something, but or start a boss fight or anything like that. They're like, just give us some way to be able to turn the game off. And so they're looking into that. But it does start off, there's no saves. I mean, there is a e-game save, and it just kind of it saves basically at your death. You know what I mean?
Wow. But that
so you die.
For hardcore intense players who like to do those marathon runs, this would be right up their alley. But
yeah,
like you said, for somebody like you who get the game fresh, you got to work in the morning, but you want to squeeze in a couple hours of play before bedtime, and then so you do a couple hours, you shut it off, you get back from work the next day, you turn it on, you all ruined to go, and what? I'm all the way back in the beginning.
Yeah. Now there are a few upgrades. There are a few upgrades that are permanent that carry over from run to run, but there's not very many. Most upgrades reset as you restart. One upgrade that I was completely unexpecting was a sword. Like at the beginning, when you first start, you don't have any kind of weapon, and then a little bit in, just a few minutes in, you find a pistol off of a corpse of yourself. Because you start off, you're like, she's like, I'm missing my sidearm. And then you kind of go along, and then you find your corpse on the ground, and there's your sidearm is on your corpse. And then you get to where there's these barriers you can't get through, and then you find a sword, and that sword will break through these barriers. It's like this alien tech sword. And that sword then gives you the ability to do melee attacks, and you keep the sword. Like if you die, you respawn with the sword. But if you got a really badass gun, if you worked your way up and you found a badass gun, you lose your gun. I think you keep your currency, and I think you keep. There's a few things you keep, but you lose your consumables, you lose your guns, and you lose your power upgrades, for the most part. But there are certain items that carry over through death. So, and then along the way, you're unfolding this mystery. You keep all your audio logs or your scout logs and things like that, things you scanned that fill out your database. So you are slowly trying to unroll this mystery. A lot of it, though, comes down to gameplay. You learn how to fight different kinds of monsters because they have different attack patterns, and their attacks have different ways of attacking you. So learning when to jump and when to side dash and where to take cover. And other tactics involved with it. Sometimes there'll be this thing in the middle of a room that stretches out green tendrils to all the monsters, and it keeps healing them until you destroy it. It's just, I don't know. And then I can't get over how successful they were at keeping it creepy while having an arcadic gameplay. So,
nice.
Anyway, I've kind of gushed over Returnal for a while now. Do we have any other subjects you want to talk about before we got on the Mortal Kombat?
I did want to touch on Flash and Legends of Tomorrow real quick.
Now Legends is my favorite CW show.
And they started up new this week.
Yeah.
Now, Legends started off time travel. They were doing the time travel thing, helping with Rip Taylor as he went and tried to fix things.
Rip Hunter?
Rip Hunter, rather, not Taylor. Rip Hunter in the time stream.
Who's Rip Taylor?
He's an old actor, actually.
Rip Torn.
Rip Torn is another old actor. Rip Torn.
Rip Hunter.
Rip Torn was Zed on Men in Black.
Rip Hunter's gone now, though. Rip Hunter's been gone for a couple of seasons, and in my opinion, the show got better when he left.
Right. But then,
I thought the show was okay when he was around, but it's gotten a lot better since he left, in my view.
and then it
It's
went
kind of the low
without
point of the series.
without Rip, and they were working on their own. And then they started handling magic, and of course Constantine joins the group. Well, now
Yeah.
they've gone switch gears again, and it's aliens, and we're not talking aliens like Kara and Dreamer and Brainy. We're talking bug-eyed aliens. We got the
Yeah.
monstrous aliens, and so we are now. I mean, we've only had one episode, so we've seen one species of bug-eyed alien. Well, we've seen a couple because we've seen
Two.
one of their captives.
Yeah, one of their captives, yeah. There's
And
a big lizardy-like one.
Yeah. But and we get, and here's spoiler alert, Gary is an alien. Oh my god. Which kind of makes sense because Gary was so like the incompetent sidekick guy that it almost makes sense that he's the alien.
He was always so weird. I feel like someone was like, you know what? He's really weird. Let's make him an alien to explain why he's so odd.
Well, I mean, he had a crush on Constantine, and he was like the fawning minion of Ava, and he's gone through all these permutations, and now he's a freaking alien.
There was a time he got his nipple bit off, and then he got it back and like used it to mind control people or something.
Yep.
Because a unicorn bit off his nipple.
Yes, so much has happened to Gary, and now now they're saying that Gary's an alien. So that means all that other stuff that happened to Gary the alien. How do they explain it working on an alien? He may not even had a nipple there. You know, who the frick knows?
Yeah. Here's something I thought was funny about it though, because his whole disguise.
He's put on his glasses.
His disguise to look like a human happens when he puts on his glasses. This has got to be a Superman, Supergirl joke about putting on the glasses to be a disguise. Except for with Gary, when he puts on his glasses, he looks like a human being, like Gary. He takes them off, and he looks like this monstrous thing with like weird...
Bug-eyed freak, yeah.
Yeah, bug-eyed freak. But if anyone puts on his glasses, it makes them look like Gary. So, like, there was one of the girls, I think, on the team put on Gary's glasses, and it turned them into looking like Gary until they took it back off.
Yeah, because they've been saying, hey, yeah, look at this. We found this. Hey, whoa, what the? Gary's an alien.
I'm curious. I'm betting there was an episode at some point, though, where he took off his glasses for some reason in an episode, and it didn't do that.
Oh, I'm sure I'm sure he's taken off his glasses at least once throughout the series. It's just great thing about Legends of Tomorrow, they don't retcon back. They just don't worry about it.
See, Legends of Tomorrow has always played things pretty fast and loose with everything, you know.
That's part of its charm.
Yes,
that is.
So while I complained about that on the Supergirl episode because of Brainy playing things so fast and loose when he's supposed to be real serious and tense about it, with Legends of Tomorrow, they've always played things fast and loose, and it's part of the charm of that show. It just has to like fit with the characters, you know.
Yeah. Don't break out of your ethos, man. You know, stay in your lanes.
So this particular episode is a lot about at the season finale last season of Legends of Tomorrow, Sarah Lance their captain got abducted while the rest of them were partying.
And they were having a massive party. Oh my god.
Yeah, they were having a party that David Bowie was at.
Yeah.
So they were having a massive party, and they didn't even notice Sarah getting abducted while partying.
And Sarah's getting ready to propose to Ava.
Yeah. Which they find out by watching a tape that they got from David Bowie, because he filmed the abduction. So she's abducted by aliens. She's trying to escape. she ends up finding Spartacus on this same spaceship, who is a bit of an asshole, and he keeps bragging about him, leading an army of 120,000 and he's undefeatable. And like Sarah's like, I don't know if you're entirely undefeatable or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he ends up getting ate by one of the aliens.
You gotta remember though, Sarah Lance was trained by the League of Assassins, so
Yeah. And then back on the Wave Rider, not on Earth. Back on the Wave Rider, you've got Ada and the team trying to rescue Sarah Lance in their own ways. Constantine and
they're pulling the team together again.
Yeah, Constantine and is trying magic,
and Rory is the most level-headed non-partying guy, which totally throws everybody off. Wait a minute,
right? Rory was one who didn't party at all that night, and it was because he was like spending time with his daughter instead.
He was being a responsible adult. Rory is being the responsible adult.
I like Ada. Ada was like puking in the toilet and saying to Rory, "Oh, look at you being a responsible parent."
Ava, not Ada.
Yeah, Ava.
With a V. But
Ava. What is Ada from? Ada is on something else with a D. Anyway, Ava. And then I'm trying to think. So yeah, Rory was just kind of not messing around. Bayrod, he just like decided to get stoned and see if getting stoned would give him any ideas.
That's his solution to everything, man.
Yeah,
he's like a Jay and Silent Bob groupie. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
he's like the Jay and Silent Bob of the Wave Rider.
Yeah, and so he's both of them without as much cussing.
Or he's what's his name from Silicon Valley. He says, "Okay, now I'm going to go out in the woods and have a vision quest, and that'll give us a name."
Yeah, and he ends up coming up with a plan of tracking down this girl who got abducted by aliens, according to a tabloid he found, and had something put in her head so that she would receive communications from the aliens. So he decides he's going to go talk to her and get her to help them track down Sarah. Yeah. But, Ava's like, oh, it's not a good idea to get her as she's a kid. That's a mess with the timeline. So let's go get her as an adult. And they find her in Texas, and she's all rigged up with weapons and whatnot. Thinks that they're aliens, especially when they show up with their spaceship.
Yeah, totally.
She's like, of course you're aliens. You have a spaceship. That's not a spaceship. It's our time ship, which I guess also is a spaceship too. But we're not aliens.
Yeah, and then it totally give you a vibe of Cowboys versus Aliens right there when you see her
a little bit
with that cowboy hat, but then just
cowboy hat that's lined on the inside with aluminum.
Yes, because she started wearing an aluminum hat so that they can't.
Yeah.
Oh my God! It's like stereotype.
Yeah, but they did successfully use her to combining her whatever she has in her brain that's supposed to be communicating with aliens. Combined that with Constantine using magic, was able to ask to project Ava to Sarah Lance's position to talk to her, and presumably it was like to try to find ask her where she was or whatever, but she just kind of shows up and she's like, hey, yes, of course I'll marry you.
Of course I'll marry you. Yeah, let's get to the important stuff first.
Which, I mean, that was kind of important because it did give Sarah Lance some extra drive to fight for her survival and make it back home, and she ends up finding out Gary's one of the aliens, and Gary's like, listen, I really like you guys. I didn't want to abduct you, but my boss made me, If we do something about her, then we can get you back home. That's why I let you free, like he made her
programmed it for your palm print.
Yeah, he programmed the inside of her cage to open with her palm print so that she could escape and they could work together. And so I'll kind of skip over all the details, but they end up having a scuffle with her, but with this alien, which you end up finding out later is apparently Gary's fiance or something. But in the scuffle, they come up with a plan to get rid of her and then use the spaceship to create like a wormhole into the temporal zone. But the fight with the alien doesn't quite go right, and to defeat her to survive, Sarah Lance like hit a thing that released all the pods that they had of other aliens that they've been capturing over whoever knows how long. They all flew out of the capsule or out of the ship, out of the the bay doors or whatever, and flew into the wormhole that goes into the temporal zone. So now but then it closes. But then it closes on them before Sarah and Gary can fly into it. So they're stuck out in space, and now the temporal zone, where the Wave Rider hangs out all the time, is flooded with a bunch of aliens that are presumably mostly going to be quite dangerous, and they're going to be the main threats for the season, or these loose aliens
Which
that
means
have been
that
captured.
they could show up in any time period on Earth, and so they're going to have to clean up Earth while still trying to rescue Sarah. And
yeah. And it was kind of amusing because, like, as they're watching all these aliens show up, Ava's smiling, and someone asks her, like, Ava, why are you smiling? And she's like, because only Sarah Lance can create this kind of a mess.
She's not wrong. She is not wrong.
And that's what I was saying. Only the Legends of Tomorrow can, like, screw up
this
time travel and the time streams and all that as much as they do can make up as much of a mess. Like I keep saying, most of the show is them somehow making a screw up that causes time anomalies of some kind all throughout history, and that they then have to go and fix.
Yeah, they're fixing their own mistakes. They're not fixing anybody else's.
Most of the time. Like the first season was just them pursuing Vandal Savage.
Right, Vandal Savage.
And by the end of that story arc, they created a mess of the timeline somehow. And then by the end of that story, they created another mess. And it's just been a cycle.
Then they open up the magical mess. And then this is...
Yeah, they opened up a magical portal that released demons throughout all of history. It's just,
and now we need to recruit Constantine. And
yeah.
Which I was glad because I wanted to see the DC's Constantine back.
Yeah, me too. So yeah, I enjoyed the episode. I had a lot of fun with it. It was my favorite episode of the CW shows for this week, which is probably going to be the case most of the time because it is my favorite CW series since Supernatural is off the air.
Favorite. My Flash is still my favorite, but Legends is fun because it's Jay and Silent Bob type of humor. It's just sit back, relax, don't take it too serious, and let's have some fun.
Yeah.
Now let's go on to the Flash.
Yeah, the Flash was mostly a courtroom drama episode today.
Right. In fact, let's see here.
This week. Oh yeah, you might want to change to another picture.
I forgot to even put us on the Legend of Tomorrow picture because I had one before that. I had that just in case you came up with a Nintendo's comment. There's my Legend picture. There's a nice Legend picture.
Oh, that's a good picture. It's a little outdated because it's got characters that aren't in the show anymore. But still.
But it's still a good picture. Here's my Flash picture. Okay.
So, what was the episode called? The People versus Frost?
Yes. People versus Frost was the name of the episode. And basically, the premise of this episode was Frost, a.k.a. Killer Frost, is being brought to justice for her crimes as Killer Frost. Although she's been a good guy for the last 4 years, she is now being brought to justice, and she's been captured. Although in actuality, at the end of the last episode, she kind of turned herself in, kind of thing. She didn't fight it. She just gave in.
Yeah.
And she's going to court. And the main character on the litigation side wants to force Frost to take the metahuman cure, which of course would set a precedent, because once a judge rules that they can force somebody to take the metahuman cure, from that point onward, it will become like an accepted practice to force metahuman criminals to just take the cure. Although Star Labs gave them the cure under the understanding that the cure would always be voluntary.
Yep.
And so they didn't want to set this precedent, and they find out that that's the actual goal of this chick that came in, was to make that a precedent. She didn't have anything personally against Frost herself. She had something against any quote unquote bad metahuman. And she's afraid that they, specifically bad metahumans who pretend to be good metahumans.
Yeah.
She had a platoon that she was in command of that followed what was supposed to be a good metahuman into a trap. It turned out to be a bad metahuman.
Yeah. But the problem with that process, though, is they could have been anybody, right? Like, he could have just been a regular human who said he had intelligence on something and then deliberately led them into a trap.
Yeah, just because you got metahuman powers doesn't make you good or bad.
So, like, what are you going to do? Like, if it was just a normal human being that was 6'2" and did this, are you going to blame him on being 6'2" and want to, like, you know, execute everyone that's 6'2" or shrink everyone that's 6'2"? Yeah. Like, her whole thought process I hate. So,
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a human thing, but yeah.
Now, the solution is kind of weird, but I understand it. Obviously, what's her name who played Frost and Caitlin is a little tired of playing two characters at once. Because to diffuse it, she voluntarily recommends
life in prison.
Life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Yeah.
She basically says, lock me up and throw away the key. Don't take away my powers, but lock me up and throw away the key. And then the judge comes up and makes a ruling. Before she makes a ruling, she actually, I think, surprises a couple people, because she points out that, yes, she knows she's setting a precedence here. If she rules that you can force her to take away her powers, then that's going to be the go-to ruling from then on out. Yeah. However, if she rules anything else, then that option is taken completely off the table for now. Until another court case can put it back on the table.
Yeah, there was a point midway in the episode where it looked like things were going to go in Snow's or in Frost's favor, because the judge was very, was sounding very leaning towards Frost's favor, especially after Joe. I forget what his title is, chief of police
captain,
or whatever.
Captain
of the police. After the captain gave a very favorable and compelling argument for why they should be lenient on Frost and definitely not take away her powers. Maybe just give her, minimal prison time or something, minimal jail time. It sounded like things were very much going in their favor. And then the judge was like, I'm going to, take a small break and then come back with my ruling. But while the trial had been going on, her sister, Caitlin, Cisco, and what's the other girl's name?
I can never think of her name.
The three of them went behind Frost's back, and
against Frost's wishes, in fact.
Yeah, against Frost's wishes, because Frost said, "Please don't do anything.
We're going to do this the right way."
Yeah, let's do this the right way. But instead, they went behind her back against her wishes, and they snuck in. They hacked the cameras at the police station, and they neutralized all of the serums, all the metahuman cures serums that was at the police station. Which they got busted for. Like in court, like after the judge said she was going to go make her decision, the prosecuting is like, we have one more thing we want to bring up. All of the, earlier today, all of the serums that are at the station were all neutralized, mysteriously neutralized at such and such time. And at the same time, all the cameras were hacked. Clearly, Frost had her people break in and do this so that
and she's the only one that would benefit from this at this time. So obviously it was done on her behalf.
Yeah. She's the only one who would have the need, motive. The motive to do this. And so that really set back the whole trial for Caitlyn's favor, or for Frost's favor.
And it
really
demonstrated, it brought home the point that if they'd have played it straight, might have won. Without, she might have got off for like 6 to 18 months in jail.
Yep,
been fine. But now she's stuck with lifetime imprisonment.
Yep.
So I figure
because
all we're going to do
what's that?
I figure in the future, the only time we're going to see Frost is when Caitlyn goes visit her in jail or something.
Yeah. I kind of figure there's going to be an incident at some point.
I
kind of figure I figure there's going to be a point where there's going to be a threat that comes up that only Frost can deal with that's going to save the world kind of a thing.
And it's either she has to break out or they actually get her released in custody.
I mean, the Flash was in prison for a while.
And afterwards, they commute her sentence.
Yeah.
But who knows? I mean, the Flash is still going strong. It's not looking like they're going to cancel this series anytime soon.
Yeah, not that I know of. Let's see, what season are we on right now anyway?
6 or 7? Maybe 8?
Yeah.
Let me see.
It looks like we're losing a couple of cast members.
Right.
We're getting at least we're on season 7. Yeah, we're on season 7. And next season 8 has been confirmed, but we are losing a couple of cast members.
Yeah, they come and go though. I mean, like we lost Elongated Man this season. And we lost
Cisco is leaving.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's going to be
Carlos Valdez.
And
which one's Tom? Which one is Tom Covinaugh?
That's Professor Wells, and we've already kind of lost
Wells?
him. And we already kind of lost him.
Yeah. Yep. So Cisco and Wells, we're losing this season, so we won't have them for the next season. They say that they are keeping the door open for return appearances, but they're leaving the show this season.
That's a lot. I mean, Cisco and Tom Cavanaugh have been in the show since the very beginning.
Yeah. I think I heard that the Elongated Man was fired over some political controversy.
Some misconduct.
Yeah, some kind of misconduct, whatever it was.
For the actor.
The last time his character appeared on the screen, it wasn't the same actor. And they came up with excuses to make sure his face was like melted so you couldn't recognize who he was.
Right, because I think it was some kind of like sexual misconduct or something on the set or something.
Something like that. Something important enough that the CW let him go over.
Yeah.
Um.
And they can't mess around with that stuff. They have to.
Yeah.
So.
You gotta nip it in the bud.
Yep.
So.
So that's the
Yeah.
Flash. I think the only other show we have before Mortal Kombat is the Nevers, and not a whole lot happened this week in the Nevers. Basically, they actually, you know what? I'm even blacked out. I don't even know if I watched the Nevers this week. I might have spaced and not watched it.
I haven't watched the Nevers at all yet.
Yeah, so
it sounds like I need to, but I haven't yet.
We'll go ahead and hold off on the Nevers this week and go directly into Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Bum, 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 bum.
There we go.
Do we have an issue?
Mortal
Okay.
Kombat. And I know this came out HBO Max and theaters 2 weeks ago. Last week, or the week before last, it had just come out, so we decided to not do anything spoiler, just kind of mention it was there. Last week was supposed to be our big spoiler episode, but me not feeling well.
Yeah.
We didn't, and we're actually technically at the end of our time right now.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we can do justice to it this week. Poor Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
But it's giving you guys more time to see it before we spoil it.
Okay. I think I said this last week, is that you definitely want to go into the movie knowing that it's not about the tournament yet, but about the events leading up to the tournament, with Shang Tsung trying to cheat by assassinating all the Mortal Kombat hero, Earthrealm defenders from.
Now,
I am wanting to watch it again. I liked it quite a bit. I'm like, the more I think about it, the more I like it, just from recollection. I'm kind of wanting to go back and rewatch it again with this new mindset. I'd have to say it's better than the other movies, better than the other two movies.
Especially the cinematography. Oh my god. I will give you from last week, we didn't mention this, because I didn't want to get into the spoilers last week since we were going to do it this week. If I can breathe long enough to do it.
Yeah.
Get another drink.
Okay. Yeah, we might have to be wrapping it up anyways because you can't breathe.
Right? There we go. Okay.
So, is that your regular fridge behind you from in the kitchen?
Yes. Yeah. I'm at my kitchen table because I don't have any other space to set up.
Gotcha.
The thing I didn't mention last week, yes, it is not in the tournament format. However, at the last set of battles, Raiden tells them, the only way you guys are going to win this is you treat it, make it a tournament. Make them do one-on-one tournament battles. And so you go against you go you. And they send them all out to go against their individual bad guys. And
yeah.
So it becomes kind of tournament style battles, but very much in the spirit of the game, where how you had a random environment that you would show up in when you did it. Because if you remember, if you wanted to play the original Mortal Kombat games, you would do your battle, but you never knew what battle scene you would be in when you showed up. No matter who you were fighting with, you could be fighting Sub-Zero in a volcanic area, or whatever,
Yep.
And so that's what that last little bit was kind of reminiscent of. Instead of being in a normal standardized battle arena, they were doing different battles in different areas. And
Yep.
then, of course, what's his name? The descendant of Scorpion is
Cole
fighting
Young.
Cole Young. He's fighting Sub-Zero, and freaking Dad shows up from hell, and he is no longer Haruzoto
It's
or
not his
whatever.
dad. He's like his great
Yeah.
granddad.
Ancestor
Yeah, his
shows up,
ancestor.
and he's no longer like Hanzu or whatever. He is now Scorpion, and he does the
Yeah.
freaking come here, and it's just, and it gets righteous with those two fighting against Sub-Zero like that, and it's just the battle scenes alone make this movie worth watching. Just the battle scenes. If you want to do nothing else, if you just want to have just pure man cave pleasure, because us guys will be sitting in our man cave watching like martial arts movies just for the fight scenes. We don't care if there's a story behind it. You can get that pleasure from just watching this movie, but there's the depth of story as well, and it really sets itself up for the next movie. It really
There's
does.
definitely the lore. There's definitely the lore there. So yeah, I'm still a little bit iffy. I'm still a little bit iffy on the new character they made, the Cole Young guy, but he might pay off with the sequels because they said that they are planning on making 4 sequels for this.
Not
so
to mention making these Mortal Kombat tie-in games, because they'll do that too.
I don't know if they're gonna make a tie-in game. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna make another game.
Mortal Kombat, and they'll tie in a new character in it, probably.
Yeah, they might include Cole in the next Mortal Kombat game. Hell, they might release them as a DLC for the current one. Mm-hmm. They're still putting out content for the current one.
And of course, like we said last week, they do telegraph that they're bringing in Cage next time, because they show a poster of Cage as one of his movie posters, and one of them says, "Hey, I'm going to Hollywood," and everything. So we know somebody's going to recruit Cage, and so that's going to be a thing. Because if you remember in the old movie, Cage was told to go do this tournament because it's like this big tournament. It's going to give him, it's really good for his image. And if he wins that tournament, he can write his own ticket because his movie sales are going down a little bit. And they just want to kind of beef up his career. So they talk him into going to this tournament island to do the Mortal Kombat tournament, not realizing that it's a big supernatural tournament. And that he's fucked. But,
yeah.
And of course, it's also great because Sonya Blade starts out the movie and goes through most of the movie with no Mortal Kombat brand. So she's technically not one of the champions. And they're thinking, and she's like, "Oh, well, who do I fight?" So, "Oh, you're not a champion. I'm sorry, you can't." But at the end, when they start saying, "Okay, you fight, you fight," okay, Kanu was originally on the good guys' side, sort of, even though he was a captive of the good guys. He was sort of on the good guys' side because you'd think he was
kind of on the good guys' side in the sense of he's an Earth realmer.
He was conscripted to the good guys' side, and he is from Earth, so you would think he's a good guy. But one of the people on the bad guys' side who knows him said, "Hey, no, let's get him to turn tables because I know him. He'll go for whatever gives him the most advantage." And so they get him to turn. Well, since he is marked and Sonya is not, when they start to set up assignments at the end, he's her assignments because once she defeats him, one of the things they've already established in the lore is if you, outside of the tournament, if you're a non-symbol holder and you beat a symbol holder, you get their symbol. It transfers to you because that's how Jax gets his. it transfers to Jax. And then, of course, they have to rebuild Jax's arms. And they start out with these wimpy little freaking toothpick arms. He can barely, he can't do shit with them. And then his, what they call his Arcana, his special power kicks in, and his arms freaking beef out. Then
he gets big old mechanical arms, and
then he's got freaking
crushes the guy's head like that.
He's got Kong arms all of a sudden, and he's got better mobility and control of him. And he's like, yeah, now, motherfucker, let's go. And Sonya doesn't take her but a second to unlock her Arcana. She gets the mark, and she instantly has her Arcana, man. She's like that good. Where Kanu took forever to unlock his laser beam eye.
It's because he's an idiot.
Yeah, Kanu's an idiot. But that's okay.
He's the highlight of the movie, though.
He's a little bit of the comic relief.
Yeah.
But, I think we've gone through enough spoilers and everything. I mean, yes, we only spent about 12 minutes on the show. Okay. Coming up next week. I think the return of Superman and Lois will be is it next week or the week after?
I think it's the week after, but I can't say for certain.
And I think the Stargirl premiere is also in.
Oh God, we got Stargirl and Superman coming back at the same time this month, and then we got. It's going to get hard to keep up. Did you hear that Loki is going to be coming out on Wednesdays instead of Fridays on the Disney Plus?
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, because of Star Wars: The Bad Batch coming out on Fridays, they're going to put Loki on Wednesdays. And they had Tom Hiddleston acting like Loki in the form of Tom Hiddleston, going, I'm the master of time, and Wednesdays are now Fridays, or something like that. And it showed the new release dates or whatever. It had like a little teaser trailer with Tom Hiddleston just in like a regular-looking outfit, mostly.
August. Oh, that's not the right thing, because that's...
It's in July.
Well, no, because the one I just found showed July, but it also showed Legends of Tomorrow coming in July. And we know Legends of Tomorrow didn't wait till July.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's a specific episode of Legends that's going to be coming out in July.
April 30th. May 2nd, Legends of Tomorrow. Batwoman in its new time was on May 2nd. May 7th, Charmed is back. Dynasty's back. June 9th is nothing. Maybe we don't. But I know that Superman and Lois is supposed to come back in May sometime. And,
it's
Stargirl
sometime in May.
Stargirl might be in July.
Is that season 2 of Stargirl?
Yeah, that's what I'm looking up. Season 2.
August 10th.
August.
Yeah. Stargirl comes out in August. Oh, shit. So Supergirl's going to be taking a break, apparently. And then Stargirl's going to team up with Supergirl, I guess.
See, Stargirl comes back Tuesday, August 10th.
It'll be paired up with Superman and Lois.
Started with the original episode of Superman and Lois. I don't see much. We saw new episodes of Stargirl.
Okay, so I don't think it's a crossover thing. I just think they're going to be airing on the same nights. I think
Stargirl is on the bubble for season 3 renewal. They haven't said yet, but then of course season 2 hasn't started yet. I'm totally hopeful for a season 3 renewal because Stargirl is just the bomb. I love that show. I thought they did a great job.
So I thought it was pretty good. I did feel it was a little high school drama-ish, but overall I liked it.
So that means that next week we probably have Flash,
Legends, and
when does Supergirl go on hiatus? Probably not yet.
I don't think yet.
Yeah, so Supergirl and Batwoman will be there. Oh, and we didn't talk about Batwoman this week, but that's okay. We'll talk about it next week. I forget sometimes to talk about Batwoman. I love Batwoman, but I just forgot. Then we've got movies coming next to HBO Max. Direct is Those Who Hunt You or something like that. The new Angelina Jolie movie is the next one to come to HBO Max. What's it called? Time to go to my search again.
So the next episode of Supergirl has a title called "Fear Not." Synopsis is: as the Super Friends brave the Phantom Zone to bring Supergirl home, the members of the team are confronted by visions of their worst fears. We might not have Supergirl rescued before the hiatus.
Let's see. I mean, I know she's an Angelina. I know she's a upcoming movies for Angelina Jolie. No, it's in the Eternals, but there's another one that's coming up. Oh, let's try this. Release date for Wall Street, General Hustle, The Conjuring, Night, Space, Mini-6. No, let's see.
What are you trying to figure out?
Trying to figure out the next one that's coming to HBO Max.
When the next what's coming to HBO Max?
The next movie that's supposed to come directly to HBO Max. Let's see, we did Godzilla vs. Kong, In the Heights, Judas and the Black Messiah, King Richard, The Little Things, Many Saints in Newark, no, Matrix 4, Mortal Kombat, Reminiscent, Space Jam. Space Jam's not the next one, though. Those Who Wish Me Dead, I think that's the one. Is the next thing that's going direct from theaters. Yes, Angelina Jolie, Nicholas Hill. Yeah. So that one's this one that's supposed to be coming out. I don't see what date it's supposed to be. It's an adaptation of a novel. It's got Angelina Jolie in it, Nicholas Hoult, John Bernthal, and Tyler Perry. Writer-director Tyler Sheridan.
Wow. Okay. So after the next episode of Supergirl, which comes out next week, Supergirl will then take a 3-month break and come back in August.
So we get one more episode of Supergirl, then we get a break. And Supergirl just started. So that's weird. But then again, I think that means that Superman and Lois probably comes back next week.
Yes. Yeah.
So
next week we got Supergirl. The week after we'll have Superman and Lois back. And then in August, Supergirl will return with the last 13 episodes that will also be coming out at the same time as Stargirl.
And sometime in all that, Diggle has got to have a walk-on to most of them. Because like I said, that's what I heard, that the Diggle was going to be a linking character. I don't know if he's supposed to be John Diggle. It's supposed to be that actor. He may not be playing John Diggle in every one of them. He might be playing other characters from other side universes because of course, that universe mashup that came through. Oh my
Yeah,
god!
it's true.
And like I said,
He
he is
he
still
could be
being
playing a whole other person.
well. He's still being kind of rumored to be the next Jon Stewart,
Yeah.
and that would be amazeballs because we're really waiting on a good Green Lantern. I mean, nothing against Ryan Reynolds; he's a great actor, but the movie didn't do it justice.
He's a great actor, but the movie was poorly directed.
And filmed.
Not especially well
Don't make the
written.
costume CG.
I don't even think the CG costume was the really criminal part of the movie, to be honest. It kind of makes sense for the CG costume because his costume is made out of light.
Yeah, but the way they did it made it look hokey.
Yeah.
They need to do better. Ryan Reynolds, as far as it goes, he did fine.
Anyway, you seem to be something getting worse. So I feel like this is a good time to go ahead and wrap things up.
Yeah, I gotta take my inhaler.
Yeah. So anyone that has any interest in seeing what else that I'm up to, you can find me live streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/LeftClaw Studios. You can also find me on Facebook with Left Claw Studios or with Lurch Land. That's also my private like kind of performer profile on Facebook. And then we've got my and then also I got lots of videos under Left Claw Studios on YouTube. Both pre-recorded and like archives of live stuff and live things also go up there. I stream every Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and my friend Angel streams on Saturdays and Wednesdays, and usually on Sundays we work together on streams. I might be doing a little bit extra streaming myself instead of Angel because he's got some other business he's having to do. Though he is currently streaming Minecraft Pixelmon. I think it's the mod he's using right now. He is currently streaming Minecraft, so he's streaming tonight until about 11-ish, whenever his scheduled to stream for. And we also got a leftclawstudios.com where there's links for all of our different things, including like merch and stuff too. So yeah, just let us know, hit me up on any of those other places. Don't forget about the Game Expo Eclectic Endeavors group. If you have an interest in what Doc and I do together outside of the stream, you can find the Game Expo Facebook page.
That's what GAME is here for. GAME stands for the Gaming Arts Media Entertainment Expo. And we're part of the board of directors with our other partner you usually see here, Greg, who's sick this week. Kind of like me, but I'm here because I also host the show, so I have to be here to manage that part. You can find me on this channel. I've not been streaming for the past couple weeks because I've been sick, other than this show. In fact, the way I'm feeling, I'm probably not going to stream tonight either. But you'll probably catch me. Hopefully, I'll have it all cleared out by Friday because that'll be almost 2 weeks with this. And it's just a chest cold. It's already been confirmed to not be COVID or anything. I'm just like getting the last of it out of my lungs. So, But so Friday night, Saturday morning will probably be my next stream because I stream Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday mornings from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. with content that's usually either old school RuneScape or alpha testing of Fractured. I'm also looking into branching out and playing some other games. If I play on the PlayStation console, you will not get my cam or that kind of stuff. Then you won't get the professional overlay because I don't have all that set up for the PlayStation. But I could also run Final Fantasy or Elder Scrolls Online or play Dragon's Lair or old school stuff like Qbert or Ape Escape. Games on there sometimes. Maybe some Diablo 3. There's supposed to be a new, as Greg mentioned, a new Diablo clone coming back out. If that comes out and goes live, I might start playing that a little bit as well. But you can find me here on Gamer Seuss, and you can find me under the name Gamer Seuss all over the internet, Facebook, YouTube, here on Twitch. And don't forget, even though he's not here, give some love to Greg Pullman, who's our director of tabletop gaming, who, like I said, is sick this week. You can find him at Queen City Cardboard here on Twitch. And you can also look him up as Greg Pullman or Queen City Cardboard on Facebook. And he does a lot of our board games and also a lot of the storyboard games. And he's been streaming on Thursday during the day. So check him out. Also, once a month, you'll find him over at Holdfast Brewing Company, the third Wednesday of every month. Instead of being here streaming with us, he'll be there live hosting a board game and puzzle night, because they just started puzzle night there too. So you can go in and competitively try to put puzzles together as a team to see who can do it the fastest. A bunch of 1,000-piece puzzles. Or you can play different board games, card games, and start to get out into public again with the gaming. And that's another great place for you to go in and tell Greg, because he can pass along to us any topics that you would like to hear about on the show. Because we really want to cover everything in the nerdosphere. If you hear of a video game coming up and Lurch for some reason hasn't heard about it, because believe it or not, there's so many coming out, he can't hear about them all. So
like the Jay and Silent Bob caught me off guard.
he heard about that today, a little bit before the show.
No, I heard about it last night around midnight, and I downloaded it and tried it for the first time.
Around midnight means today, new day. He just, less than 24 hours notice, and we, that kind of thing. But let us know what you want to know about. If there's some new role-playing game coming out, let me or Greg know, because we'll talk about that. If there's some new console, especially a console or Steam game, kick it Lurch's direction, because Lurch will check it out. He is our gaming guru. Not only is he the chairman of Eclectic Endeavors for this season, he has been the director of electronic gaming there for most of the history of game. I think he just missed the first year, and that was it.
That's right.
And so this guy has more consoles than some console stores I've seen. Especially some of the retro stuff. It looks like we got a SpongeBob SquarePants 120 that's here in the channel. Hi. We're just getting ready to sign off there, SpongeBob. Sorry you're getting here at the tail end, but we're here every Wednesday.
Who lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob. Hey, Patrick. Anyway.
Do you know why Patrick's always so clueless?
Why?
Because he lives under a rock.
That's right. Anyway, we're here. We are here every Wednesday, barring complications, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Central Standard Time. So right here in Springfield, Missouri. So if you want to hear and keep up with us, or if you can't make the shows when we're live, within a day or two of doing the show, I transferred over to my YouTube channel, which is the Gamer Seuss channel. Just look up GamerSceuss at YouTube and go into the Game Time folder or Game Time playlist. And that will be all the shows that I've transferred over there from previous episodes. So you can keep up, see what we've talked about, get an idea of our dynamic. And like I said, you can leave a comment there. You can leave a comment here on Twitch or on Facebook, and we'll try to accommodate people, because we want to talk about everything. We want to talk. If you are in a Kira dance group, we want to talk about it. If you want to talk Ghostbusters of the Ozark, we're here to talk about that. If you want to talk about building props and cosplay, we're all over it. Painting miniatures, in anything like that, we'd love to spend a few minutes on it during our episodes. That's what we're here for. Especially while game is not currently having a live expo. We have not confirmed any live dates yet because we're still wondering about things and, being able to build a big enough gathering to make it worthwhile. But that's why we created Game Time, so we could touch bases with you and remind you that we're still here, we're still thinking about you, and you're still welcome in our nerdy family.
Yeah.
So from myself, and I'm sure my co-host Lurch, thank you for listening in this week. I'm going to try to shoot you over to Left Claw Studios if he's still broadcasting. Although it always seems like just as I send everybody over, he ends. So we never know.
Yeah.
But we will catch you otherwise next week. Hopefully I'll be feeling better. Greg will be feeling better. Lurch won't have picked up the sickness and won't be the next in line.
Hopefully not, man.
Yeah. Let's not do that, huh? For your own sake, don't do that.
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna cocoon myself into my house.
Yeah. And
we'll see you guys next time.
But I'm going to go ahead and transfer you over. So let me set that up. Left Claw Studios. Looks like he's got 2 viewers over there right now. Start the raid. Show more. Left Claw Studios. There we go. Free manager and raid now. Okay.